Following content will challenge everything you thought you knew. Take a look.
Your DNA is an antenna to the Creator that operates like a Tesla coil because of the creative juice in you, water.
The vibration of water around the double helix of the completed human DNA creates a vibrational antenna. And now when you hit that with light energy, it vibrates at a very specific frequency.
When we placed these 3 E's on people's acupressure points and then took those energy readings using that instrumentation, between 80 and 85% of the time, we always saw one organ system, one energy meridian, consistently enhanced: the pineal gland, the spiritual processing station.
Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Next, Dr. Leonard Horowitz explains the mysterious connection between the numbers 3, 6, and 9 in the human DNA. It is mind-blowing.
The entire universe is spinning, just like your DNA, your genetics. And it's spinning as the mathematics is dictating. The numbers themselves are a tip-off. Let me give you the fundamental, the rudimentary origin of the numbers. Here it is. The most important numbers, 3, 6s, and 9s. Again, Tesla said, Tesla, who created Tesla coil. Tesla coils, energy amplifiers. Your DNA is an energy amplifier, a coil, operating by the 3, 6s, and 9s primarily. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you probably looked at engines or motors, magnets that have been wound with copper wire. When you do that, when you wind the copper, coil the copper around the magnet, it enhances the energy dramatically. That's what your DNA is. It's an antenna to the Creator. Technically, the scientists call it photon-phonon emissions for intercellular communications. That's the primary function of DNA. Phonon is sound. Photon is light. So sound and light signaling. And before there was light, there was the water and the sound. So sound and light signals come into the cells, and DNA is in a matrix of water. Your DNA is an antenna to the Creator that operates like a Tesla coil because of the creative juice in you, water. Specifically, most frequently, the matrix of DNA is the 6-sided hexagonal-shaped structured water molecule. And this is from science that Lee Lorenzen shared with me, and he shared this with Dr. Emoto. This is from the journal Science. This is from Ron Sakeley's team, University of California, Berkeley, water scientists, who took DNA and evaluated how much energy potential is held in the genetic strands, and then changed the structured water matrix. They pulled the water out of the matrix and then rechecked to see if the strands were still spiritually or energetically active. And so here you can see 4 strands of DNA in that beautiful Tesla coil structure. Here particularly, you can see, if you lay this on its side, you see the structure of the double wing in Rodin's infinity pattern. And here you see negative 212. Here is negative 217 as an energy measure. If they eliminated as little as 8% of the structured water out of the matrix, you lose the structure. It unfolds, and look at what happens to the energy signaling. Negative 12.3 goes down dramatically. Praying over water to have a dramatic effect. Dr. Emoto's greatest contribution, that you can take muddied water like this. This is actually 20,000 magnification of water that is consistent with all of the municipal water systems, all the fluoridated and chlorinated water systems that the public health officials allegedly give us to protect us. In fact, they're simply poisoning us. At the highest levels, it is absolutely certain that there's no need for this. You think about this. We now know that the most expensive, and they're the most expensive and most effective of all of the water purification systems in the industry, is ultraviolet light. The light, the frequency resonance, kills the pathogens. How expensive would it be for us to really install all that type of technology for mass municipal water systems? It really wouldn't be that significantly expensive. There would be certainly ways to reduce the cost, to make it cost-effective, cost-beneficial. But instead, what are we doing? We're poisoning the system, poisoning God, poisoning the triune God, poisoning the water, poisoning the bloodstreams of humanity. That's sick. That's not public health. That's genocide. And so the concept that you could take the worst impure water and with faith and trust and loving, heartfelt intent, dramatically change it, purify it. Truth that shall set us free from environmental toxicity.
When it comes to water, have you ever thought that cats have something special? They're always drawn to flowing water, be it from a faucet, toilet or shower. They don't drink water that has been sitting in a bowl for 2 days. Let's listen to Aubrey Marcus and Dr. Zach Bush talking about the science behind all of that. This is very, very interesting.
The cats have taught me something else, because I could pour this Mountain Valley water and I could pour it in a dish and I leave that dish flat and leave it there for 2 days. They will not touch that water. But I've flushed the toilet. I've flushed the toilet and the water's swirling. They'll choose that water that's been circulating and cycling, or alive. They prefer it out of the faucet, but they'll take the toilet. But alive, it's like living water. It's like they can sense that there's something different about the water as it's alive, as it's moving, and there's something happening there.
What's happening at the atomic level, that you're witnessing there, is clumping. And so when you have stagnant water or water that goes through non-natural flow states, if you put a 90-degree bend in a plumbing line, which there's thousands in every single household, all those 90-degree turns break it out of normal flow state and you get clumping of the water molecules. And so coming out of the tap or sitting in a glass of water that you just poured, typically you've got clumps of 75 to 100 water molecules that are clumped together, and they're in an electrical relationship to each other, a biochemical kind of colloidal structure. When you put it into a natural vortex around a pebble in a stream or swirling in that toilet bowl as you described, that vortex energy that's there, it breaks that organization of those large clumps, and you can get down to levels of 5, 12 molecules of water, which is now far more biologically active, can be absorbed through cell membranes much better, all of that. So we have certainly learned to kill water through every mechanism that we do in municipal water systems and hydraulics around all of our water systems. But interestingly, as soon as water passes into a cell, which remains one of the most mysterious things in biology, we still don't really know how water gets into a cell, because we just have these passive channels called aquaporins in the surface of cells that have no pump mechanism. We have pumps for everything else: sodium, potassium, minerals, insulin. Like, we have all kinds of ways to get crap into cells. Water being the most important thing for cellular health, we can't figure out how that thing knows how to passively push through a cell. There's no way to suck it in, but it seems to be related to the electrical potential across the cell membrane. So like a battery, the more you insulate between the positive and negative charge, the higher the potential energy there. And so it's by creating this extraordinary charge potential across a very small distance of a cell membrane with perfect resistance through that phospholipid double membrane, you create an enormous electrical charge potential. And it's thought that it's the electrical charge potential that's being produced by the mitochondria as it translates light energy from your food back into light energy, electrons, is creating the electrical opportunity for water to enter the cell. And when it enters, it immediately crystallizes. When you've cut yourself, you've never leaked water out of yourself, which is so weird because you're 70% water.
Well, what do you mean? What's blood?
Blood is not from the cell, right? So you'll have blood, which is a liquid state, but it's outside of the cell. When you cut yourself, you'll disrupt millions, if not billions, of human cells, skin cells, deep dermis, all of this. No water leaks out. And so you're cutting through massive amounts of tissue. Heart surgery is just so dramatic. And there is no leak. There's no water there because it's not a liquid state. It's actually in this fourth phase of water, which looks like a dense jello. And what it is, miraculously, is a crystalline structure of that H2O.